I think it's time for me to go over the books that I've been reading over the past 6 months. Hi everyone, it's me, Shelby from Shelby's Crafty Books and Games, and today I'll be doing a mid-year wrap-up video. I have noticed I haven't really been talking about the books I've read each month, so I thought I'd just do all the ones I've done in the last 6 months, since we're in the middle of the year of 2026, which is crazy to me. We're already halfway through the year when you get to June. I did finish about 19 books in these 6 months, pretty far off from what I want to be for my goal, which is 60. I should probably be at around 30, but hey, what you gonna do? But hopefully I can get going again, and hopefully we can get to 60 by the end of the year. But that's not what this is about. This is about my reading wrap up for the first half of the year. So let's get to that. Okay, so out of the 19 books I read from January to June, 11 of them were physical books, 3 of them were ebooks, and 5 of them were audiobooks, for a total of 5,740 pages read so far in the year. I've only had one book I've given 5 stars this year. 11 of those books got a 4-star rating. 5 of those books got a 3.5 rating. 1 book got a 2.5 rating, and 1 book got a 1-point rating. And this is 1 out of 5 points, or 5 stars. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for the first book I finished in 2026, that was The Search for Wonla. I did this as an audiobook for the first time because I wanted to try out the audiobook, and I really liked it. It was really fun to listen to while I just did other things, such as drawing or putting together crafts. And this follows a girl named Ava 9. She lives inside a bunker underground, and she's being trained how to survive on Earth. But when she has to finally leave her home after some strange creature attacks, she finds out she might not be on Earth actually. So this is the first book out of 3 that follows Ava as she tries to find other humans. And I really find this a very imaginative story. It's very beautifully written and illustrated, in my opinion, because there's actually pictures at the beginning of each chapter, as you can see from this. And it has a lot of cool creatures throughout it, like Oto, who is basically a giant water bear. And this has always been one of my favorite books for a long time, ever since I found it a couple years ago. And because of that, I always love giving this a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was a physical read, and that is The Looking Glass Wars. This is a reimagining of Alice in Wonderland, where they take Alice, and it turns out she is actually the true princess of Wonderland, and she was taken by the Mad Hatter at a young age to go and hide in our world after the evil Red Queen takes over Wonderland. And I really did enjoy this. I am a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland. My only main problem probably was that it seems that it takes way too long for the story to get going, because it has so much to set up. You gotta set up all this stuff and lore. We gotta set up Alice having to be taken and then having to find her way back to Wonderland, and we also are setting up what other characters are doing. By halfway mark, maybe a little more, is when finally Alice does come back to Wonderland, and her trying to take back the throne and do that. It's very rushed feeling for a first book, and like I said, first book because there's 2 other books, so it could have been probably paced better, in my opinion. You could have maybe made this more into a 2-book thing, but instead there is a different conflict and villain in the next book. So, but if it hadn't taken that long, I probably would have given this a higher rating, but as of now, I gave it 4 out of 5. Then the third book is actually the first Kindle book I read during the year of 2026, and that was Starlight. This is a Peter Pan retelling. It follows Wendy as an adult as she reunites with an adult version of Peter Pan. And I thought it was a really cute book, and it's mostly just them getting back together and their romance throughout that. So not much going on. So, but I kind of wish there was more to the story. So because of that, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next is Steal Like an Artist. This is a audiobook I love to listen to at least once a year. This is basically how to go around and learn and improve your art skills by watching or reading or listening to other artists. And it really does help me, motivate me a lot to get better at my art skills. So like I said, I like to listen to it at least once a year, and I usually give this audiobook a 4 out of 5 stars. Next is another Kindle read, and it is a reread for me, and that is The 100 Acre Kingdom. This is a sequel to the 100 Acre Wood books, or the Winnie the Pooh books, of course by a different author. It came out, I believe last year, which makes sense because that was when Winnie the Pooh went into the public domain. And in this book, we follow Christopher Robin's daughter, who goes by Clover for most of the book, as she goes on adventures with Piglet, her trusty archer friend, and Bear, her close companion, who both her and Piglet ride, as they take on evil Humpalumps and Woozles. And also Clover has to come to her terms with growing up. But I really do enjoy this. It does feel like it could be an actual sequel to the Winnie the Pooh stories. And I do like how the main character Clover does have to struggle with having to grow up and how she fears it, because I remember when I was young being like that. So all in all, I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. Then for my next audiobook listen I had, that is A Hero for Wonla, book 2 in the Wonla trilogy. This one follows Ava as she finally discovers where the humans have been living this whole time. And I don't want to go into any more than that because there's tons of spoilers for both 1 and 2. But I do like how this book does world building, how it adds on to things we learned in book 1. And I really like how Ava changes and grows and matures in this book as well, as she learns more about things that are going on. And because of that, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is a short book, but it was a physical read, and that is Anna and Elsa, All Hail the Queen. This is from an Anna and Elsa Frozen little book series that came out a little bit after the first movie did. And it follows Anna and Elsa as they just try to connect and try to, do sisterly stuff together now that they can do stuff together. And I thought it was a real cute continuation of the first Frozen movie, and I really like seeing the interactions between Anna and Elsa, and also how Elsa had to learn that she can rely on her sister to help her on things. She doesn't have to do things by herself. So because of that, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Then the next one was another audiobook read, and that is Show Your Work. It is a sequel to Steal Like an Artist, and it basically gives you tips and tricks on how to share your artwork out with the world. Really like to listen to this as well, especially seeing as I'm trying to do more of showing off my work on my social medias and stuff like that. And so usually I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I have another short book that I read, and that is Anna and Elsa, Memory and Magic. It's a really cute little sequel, takes place after the first Frozen movie, where Anna tries to find and restore her memories of her time with Elsa before it was taken from her in the beginning of the movie. And it's a really cute. I like seeing a little bit more lore created, and I like how at the end Anna and Elsa figured out a way to kind of bring these memories back, which was just Elsa telling her stories and the whole truth about things, because Anna does kind of remember things, but not everything. So it's up to Elsa to fill in those gaps. And other than that, I gave it a 3.5 out of stars, because for both this and All Hail the Queen, I just wish these were longer, because I just really like these characters and seeing them grow and interact more than just in the movies. But these are made for younger kids, so Then I listened to the audiobook Keep Going. It is the third and final book in the Steal Like an Artist trilogy. I kind of say that because they all came in like this one audiobook. And it's just basically about how to, keep going, keep being an artist, keep doing things even when you're having a bad time. I like to listen to this at least once a year again as well to help me know what to do if I do get down in the dumps. Probably need to follow it more often. But it's nice to listen to and kind of get you motivated and your spirits up. So because of that, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I tried out a new audiobook, which is We Need Your Art. And this is another one of those informational, kind of inspirational audiobooks. And it's basically, even if, you feel like you're not the best at art, or you think that you probably shouldn't be showing off your art, you should do it anyway. There's places out there you should show your work, and you shouldn't be scared to show it. So I really like that. Really helped me, motivate me, and I feel more like I want to share my art and stuff, especially now that I'm getting into digital art. And because of that, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I did a quick listen to the original How to Train Your Dragon book. If you go on Audible, they have it actually read by David Tennant, the Doctor from Doctor Who. And that's one of the reasons why I love to listen to it. And then the other one is because it is so different from the actual DreamWorks movie that it's like one of those things you just got to experience by reading or listening to it. And this is how it's different. In the book, the dragons are already a thing, and people already train dragons. Of course, they don't do it like in the movies. They just yell at it really loud. And that's how they believe you train a dragon. And of course, then we have Hiccup. And he starts finding out ways to train a dragon differently. Mostly his dragon Toothless, who isn't some big, awesome dragon like in the movie. It is a small, common, green dragon. And also, another funny thing about the book version of Hiccup and Toothless is that they can talk to each other because Hiccup knows how to speak dragon. So yeah, it's just an all-around fun, cute little short book that I like listening to. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, mostly because I just wished it was longer because it just was a really fun book. And so, yeah. Then the next book that I read in the first half of 2026 is a physical book, and that is An Orphan's Journey. And this follows Pearl and her sister as they start off in Europe and make their way over to Canada. And it just follows their lives as they go from these orphans and becoming like maids in a house and all the stuff that goes on. I did enjoy reading about how things were back in these olden times, especially like in the Canada, because usually if you read things, at least for me, when it comes to the New World, it's always in America. But this was a nice change of pace to see what it was like over up in Canada. And I think my biggest problem with this book, though, was things were set up and nothing was really done with it, or it was resolved way too quickly. So that was my biggest gripe with it, to the point where when something would happen toward the end of the book, I didn't get excited. I was just like, oh, that's probably not going to go anywhere. But mostly because of that is why I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I am not sure if I'll read more by this author, but it was still a nice experience. Then for the next audiobook I listened to, that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, because toward the end of last year, they started putting out a full audio cast recording of the series, and I wanted to try it out. This is actually the second time I've done the first book of the Harry Potter series. First time I think I was a little clouded by what other people were saying that it wasn't that good. So I kind of let that make my judgment of it, and I kind of agreed. But then I kind of went in, just by myself, nothing in my head about it. And I really enjoyed it the second time around. And If you don't know what Harry Potter is, it follows Harry as he finds out he's a wizard. So yeah, but the experience for this one time going around was, like I said, mostly for the full cast audiobook, which I think was pretty good. I really liked it. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Then my next one was a physical read, and that is The Wicked Prince. This isn't one of those independently published books that I found sometime last year on my Kindle and read it and loved it so much I had to get a physical copy, and I reread it again this year, and I still love it. And this follows Prince John as he has this crazy scheme that he believes that if he marries Robin Hood, because he finds out Robin Hood's a girl, he might be able to solve this little problem he has of these people stealing from him. So yeah, so he tricks Robin into marrying him, and the two kind of have this crazy interactions and rom-com like situations that they fall in love with, but of course they trying to deny it. And it's just so fun to read, and the interactions were so good, and it kind of bounces back and forth in like third person between the two characters. But I really recommend this book, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Then the Kindle read I had was Blood and Thorns, another indie book. I really hated this book. My God. It is a mafia romance inspired by predominantly Disney Beauty and the Beast, because there's characters in this that are heavily influenced by the Disney version. You can tell just by reading a few things about them. And I really disliked this book because I couldn't figure out why the characters fell in love with each other. It was like the male character would do these horrible stuff, but somehow the main female character falls in love with him. So I was just like, I feel like I'm missing like another half of this book. I think the only thing that was kind of okay about this was seeing all the ways the author took Disney characters and plot points and changed them and made them into this book. Like one point they go to a place that's basically the Snuggly Duckling from Disney's Tangled. Thought that was funny. But other than that, I gave it 1 out of 5 stars. Then for another physical read I did this year, that would be The Enthronement by Charity May. I really enjoyed this book. It follows a girl named Cassia who is part of a rebel group, and she is used to try to infiltrate the castle during a big competition to see who will become the next princess and marry the kingdom's prince. And of course, as she goes through this competition, she makes friends, she discovers things that she has been lied to about by the rebels, and she becomes good friends, maybe even more, to the prince. So I really enjoyed this. Actually, there's some parts in this that made me want to get out my drawing tool stuff and actually draw again. That's how much fun I had with this book. And also, funnily enough, I did a digital art piece that I'm hoping to show off on Friday. So look out for that. But anyway, I really like the main character, Cassia. I feel like, though, that might be because I kind of relate to her in the fact that in this book she does dwell on things a little too much, and she does question things and go back and forth on things quite a lot. And I feel like maybe for some people that might get too repetitive, but I do that a lot for myself. So I'm kind of like, you know, I'm seeing myself in this character. So that's why I really like the character and really like this book. So anyway, this is the beginning of a 7-book series. I have finished book 1 and I'm currently on book 2. And I gave the first book, Enthronement, 4 out of 5. Then for my final audiobook I had in the year of 2026, well, the first half of 2026 anyway, is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And I listened to the second full audio cast recording of this book, and it was as fun as the last time. I really enjoyed it. This one has Harry discovering that he not only can speak snake, but also that there is a chamber under the school that houses a giant snake monster that is going around trying to, you know, harm non-magical born students. But anyway, I really enjoyed the full audio cast recording. It was fun to see how these characters were able to come alive with this new group of people doing the voices, and it makes me not only excited to continue this series, but it's making me excited to maybe see different ideas and different versions of this series as we go further into the future, besides just the original books and the old movies that came out around the 2000s. So, yep, I am optimistic but scared for the HBO remake, streaming remake. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, 4 out of 5. Then the last book I read for the first half of 2026 was a Kindle book, and that is My Guide Dog is a Wolf Shifter. And I saw like an ad for this book, Kindle book, on Facebook or something, and it sounded really fun. So I picked it up, and it's about this guy who can like shift into a wolf and stuff, and to hide from some bad wolf shifters, like this gang of wolf shifters, him and his friends kind of got into a fight with. He pretends to be a guide dog for this blind woman, and from the advertisements, it sounded like there was going to be all of these kinds of different scenarios and stuff. So I was waiting for that, and none of those ever really happened. So yeah, it was just I think he helped her as a dog maybe like 1 or 2 days, and then he's like all head over heels in love with her, and then he comes back as a human pretending to be like this cooking teacher, and yeah, they fall in love, and dumb, like a cool idea on paper but not greatly executed. So I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So those are all the books that I have read for the first half of 2026. I hope to read more in the following half of the year. Not sure how I will get to my goal. We'll see. Maybe I can do some more of those small books like I did with the Anna and Elsa series, which was a series I found like at a thrift store, and I just thought they were cute, so I bought them. But anyway, let me know in the comments below if you are reading anything and what has been your books you've read in 2026 so far. Anyway, see you later.